Martin Luther King was born on 15th January 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He was ordained a Baptist minister of a church in Montgomery, Alabama. The year before, he had married Coretta Scott. After he had supported the bus boycott in Montgomery, he became known as the leader of the American Civil Rights Movement. He was put in jail several times. In support of President John F. Kennedy's anti-segregation laws, Dr. King organized a march in Washington, D.C. in 1963. Over 200,000 people took part in this march. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act put an end to discrimination, and Martin Luther King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Like President Abraham Lincoln, he was murdered by a fanatic. In 1968, he was shot on the balcony of his hotel room in Memphis, Tennessee. Since 1983, Dr. King's birthday has been a federal holiday in the USA. Also, like President Lincoln, Martin Luther King was known as a great speaker. In 1963, he made his famous I Have a Dream speech, which is regarded one of the greatest American speeches ever made. Here is an excerpt. I have a dream. 100 years ago, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It was a light of hope in the darkness to many millions of Negro slaves. Today, 100 years after, the Negro is still not free. He is still discriminated against, and he is still poor, and he is still segregated, and exiled in his own land. We have come to Washington to cash a check. When the fathers of the Republic wrote the words of the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promise to all Americans, a promise that all men would have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Do not underestimate the Negroes. We will not give up until we have justice. There will be no rest in America until we have our rights. But there is something that I must say to my people. We must not try to get our rights by doing wrong. We must fight with dignity and discipline. We must not protest with physical violence. And we must not forget that many of our white brothers know that their future is tied to ours. We cannot walk alone. We must march on. We cannot turn back. There are some who ask us, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is beaten by the police. We can never be satisfied as long as we cannot go into roadside motels and hotels in the cities. As long as we have to live in black slums. As long as we cannot vote, or have nothing to vote for. We will not be satisfied until we get justice. I know that many of you have suffered injustice. Go back to your homes in Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Georgia, Louisiana, to the slums of our northern cities. Go back knowing that things can and will be changed. For I have a dream, and my dream is part of the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live its own beliefs. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day the sons of men who were slaves and the sons of men who were slave owners will sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that even the state of Mississippi, now hot with injustice, will turn into an oasis of freedom. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that in Alabama little black boys and girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and girls and walk together as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today. I have hope and I have faith, and I know that we will be free one day. This will be the day when the words of the American national song will really mean what they say. Sweet land of liberty, let freedom ring. If America is going to be a great nation, this will come true. Let freedom ring from every mountain top in our great country. And when we let freedom ring from every village, from every state and every city, we will be hurrying towards that day when all God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing the last words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.